final hour.
Yeah, you know, this thing isn't over until we get the checkered flag, and we got to get past it.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.
Duncan's great there. Yeah, cheers, buddy. He's only a Hollywood superstar. Yeah, cheers, buddy. I love his relaxed attitude, I really do.
The females of Scotland will be rushing to shake Duncan's hand when he gets home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hour to go. Let's have a quick review. It is the number 8 Toyota that leads by a lap. The number 7 Toyota didn't come into the pits. It had to sort of limp around last lap, and therefore it's a lap down. The Rebellion number 3 is 10 laps back, and the Rebellion number 1 is 4th overall. In LMP2, it's G-Drive from Signatech Alpine from the Graf car that we saw a moment ago with the black nose. TDS are 4th, United Autosports are 5th, Jackie Chan Racing are 6th. In GTE Pro, it's the 2 Porsches, 1st and 2nd. The Pink Pig together with the retro Rothmans 956 colours. Then it is the Ford Ganassi car with Dirk Muller and then Harry Tinknell in 4th. In GTE Am, it is the Dempsey Proton car, the Aussie Campbell there, ahead of Spirit of Race with Fisichella, and then the Keating Motorsports, a Ferrari, the Dutchman Jerome Blakemolen driving that car. Those are your 4 podiums at the moment. We are within sight of the finish here at Le Mans. The sun is about as warm as it has been for the entire race. You can see the heat haze that the Toyota spears through as it goes up the hill, and quite a hill it is, up towards the Dunlop chicane. Making its way through there, underneath the Dunlop Bridge, and away.
It's quite amazing to think that 23 hours ago this race started, and it's just, you think about what's gone on and everything, or the amount of gear changes, like apexes to clip, braking points to hit, and just the people who are out front are the ones who've made the least mistakes or the least errors. And it's so difficult. Driver change here. Rusanov getting out of the car. The LMP2 leader. This is the G-Drive racing car. Currently sat in 5th place overall. But more importantly for them, leaders of their category. And if you remember 12 months ago, this car didn't get past lap 20 when Rusanov had a moment and a bit of a breakdown of communications with one of the Dempsey Proton cars in the Porsche curves, and ended up in the wall and unable to continue. So they are really putting it back, the Ghost, to rest at the minute. They have, as we know, 57 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
This is Richard Lietz. God, look at that Toyota. Is that who I think it is?
Number 5, Janetta Louise, just telling us he's back out again. They are right at the back of the field, but they potentially, as long as they get the next 56, well, a bit more, it's 56 minutes to the flag drops, but they might have to do a bit more of a lap depending on where they are. And gone are the days where you can just all queue up at the Ford chicane and wait for the leading cars to come through. You've got to do that final lap in a certain time limit. I think it's 6 minutes or 7 minutes, but you have to complete the last lap. But the Janetta currently 46th overall, and Robertson out in that car at the moment. SMP car coming past the GTE cars. There's one of the Fords. This is the battle, 2nd and 3rd. 17, just over 17 seconds, 17.256 seconds between them. Team radio.
Those are great laps, Dirk. Unfortunately, the Porsche ahead of you is doing the same kind of lap times. We'll just stay at it here. We'll see what we can get.
Talk about bigging him up and then telling him, oh, well, never mind. great lap you're doing there, but unfortunately the Porsche you're battling with is doing the same. Oh well. These cars do sound great. That's what racing cars should sound like.
The V6 twin turbo in the Ford. Oh, hello. Hello, that's Jenson Button. Jenson Button's on the side of the road with the SMP BR1. And there's quite a bit of smoke coming out of the back of that. The 38-year-old, the 2009 Formula One World Champion, is stopped on the way down to our...
What a shame.
It's just before...
Game over, guys. Game over. The engine gone.
Yeah, just a shame it's come to an end like this.
Yeah, what a shame, he says. Sorry, guys. Yeah, they lost laps at the beginning of the race, Julian, but you could hear him on the radio. What a shame, what a shame. Oh, boom, that's an engine gone. It's a flat chat. He knew immediately what had happened, and he pulls over, and that is the car on the side of the road. And JB so close to bringing that car home. Here we go, listen in.
What a shame. What a shame. But a lot learned, I think, over the last 24 hours, guys. Bloody good job by everyone. And yeah, just a shame it's come to an end like this.
Hey ho, hey ho. They've done some work, haven't they?
And they've learned an awful lot in the last 24 hours, as he just said. The last week, the last month. Remember, these cars, they had a massively torrid time at Spa. Yep. One was upside down at Eau Rouge and travelling the wrong direction in the wrong format.
You know, that car wasn't even made this time last year. It it got shaken down in sort of late autumn or so. It got launched to the public in the middle of November. And here it is in only its second motor race, and the hardest motor race of all to do.
Number 1 Rebellion. This is our 4th place car. Neil Yanni on board, and it's unless there's any dramas, he's not going to challenge for the final podium place.
Okay, there's just under an hour to go. Julian, a pleasure as always. Martin, you'll be taking these cars over the finish line. A pleasure and a first for us to work together. I've known you for so many years. I've listened to you for so many years, as you know. It's been wonderful, and we look forward to doing it again next year. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I'll speak to you soon. It's been a pleasure, and may the best man win.
Thank you very much, Toby. And yeah, Martin is in the box. Alan McNish is wandering around somewhere with a cup of tea or something, but he might join us again. But yeah, I mean, it's we've all learned a lot about each other this week, and these teams have all learned a lot about each other as well. So a team that was put together. Some of us were here last year, some of us weren't, and there is that SMP car now being rolled back behind the barrier. So they don't need a slow zone here, they just need a yellow, because they can get it pushed back.
Probably as frustrating to retire in the final hour as it was to have their major problem in the first hour of the race, which left them with an enormous hole to dig from absolutely last, 60th in the field. And they were determined from then on to just press on and get to the end of the race. Unfortunately, the mechanical problems have intervened, and the number 11 car is going no further. So we're into the final hour, and the marker of doom, I'm afraid, removes another of our LMP1 cars. So SMP Racing lost the 17 car to a high-speed accident, and the number 11 car.
I mean, that's not very good.
Well, I'm afraid the nephew of the marker of doom is on its very last stint, and there's not much left, but that has gone. So in LMP1, the 2 Rebellions remain, and the 2 Toyotas remain, and that's your lot. The other LMP1 cars. Oh no, hang on, the number 5 car, is that still moving?
Yeah, it's just gone back out. Louise told us that just a little bit ago. They are back out and running, and they're not classified as last anymore now, because the Gulf Racing car is just just dropped down, maybe in the pits or actually overtaken.
That's a real shame for Gulf. 50th anniversary of Gulf's first win here at Le Mans with the Gulf GT40, the John Wyer team. And that Gulf Racing car looked very strong in qualifying. Unfortunately, a couple of incidents, a couple of mechanical problems have left them with a huge hole in their performance, and they are dropping down to the tail of the field. So I'm not sure if you've covered the long stint that the Toyota did, the problem that number 7 car had. Kamui Kobayashi didn't press the button that said, yes, I hear your message, I'm coming into the pits, went round one more time and had to slow down, run on the internal combustion engine at minimum speed so that he could charge up the electrics to be able to restart the car in the pit lane. So it did a lap more than it should have normally done on full fuel, but they have done longer stints behind the safety cars, 12 and even a 13 lap stint behind the safety car. And it's about maximum energy usage in the stint. It's not a mandated maximum number of laps, apparently. So unlike GTE Pro, where it is a mandated maximum number of laps. So the Toyota and LMP1 cars, it's a target length controlled by fuel flow and track and tank size.
If Louise is down in the pit, she's got some news. I think it is on the 35 car.
Yeah, Victor Scheiter just brought in the 35 SMP Racing and handed over to Harrison Newey. Harry got in the car, and I could see from the side the light, the number on the side, the light kept flicking on and off. And they tried to push start the car, they tried to jump start the car, and now it's on the dollies and gone into the garage.
Thank you for that, Louise.
Well, a car needing a new steering wheel, we gather. So that they replaced the steering wheel on both Toyotas. Rob Leupin told us earlier on, just because they were having a little bit of an electronic gremlin glitch. So no dramas with the, in the end, with that kind of running out of fuel, almost, not quite, for the number 7 car. No sign of a penalty either for the number 8 car, starting its wheels in the pit lane, or rotating its wheels in the pit lane while on the jacks. Although Lena Gade was saying a little while ago that that does not have to be actually put up on the screen. It is a rule, and it has been enforced. Other people have been penalised for spinning their wheels in the pit lane during pit stops. So it is clearly a precedent that if you spin your wheels in the pit lane during a pit stop, you get a drive-through penalty. Maybe it was just the wind blowing them around. It's quite breezy in the pit lane, Alan McNish.
Yeah, but these situations always have got the discretions of the stewards to be able to overrule them in that respect.
Oh, so here we go. Car 7.
Stop and go penalty for exceeding the amount of allowed fuel used. So did that mean he had to use too much hybrid energy to get back round?
No, fuel means fuel. That would be energy. And it'd be the fuel flow in terms of their allowed fuel flow to go in.
It's not going to make any difference at all.
Information to the pit lane. Information to the pit lane. Steward's decision number 64 gives a 10-second stop-and-go penalty on car number 7 for exceeding the amount of allowed fuel. Steward's decision number 64 gives a 10-second stop-and-go penalty on car 7 for exceeding the amount of allowed fuel.
Okay, and then he comes for his pit stop straight away. As you say, there's no change to the order because of this.
So that's each of those cars now that have had a penalty, because Buemi got a penalty early on.
Yeah,
and had to come in. So both of the Toyotas.
Buemi's had, yeah, he's had one and potential for a second one, but that hasn't been applied.
Spinning wheels. Yeah.
Yeah, and the problem with not applying that when you've already penalised somebody else for it is that everybody then goes, okay, yeah, all we want is if you're going to apply a rule, apply a rule.
I didn't see the one that was applied earlier on, so you need to see exactly the situation behind it as well, because what they did was they spun the wheels and then the car then stopped and then the car went down. And so if they spun and then drove off, that's very different to spinning, stopping and going down and going away. I don't think it would have changed very much in the reality of things.
But again, rules are rules, whether they actually infer an advantage or not. But there we go.
I mean, well, now Kobayashi's had that penalty, they can give one to Nakajima if they want to make it kind of like all above board and everything.
I think, yes. 45 minutes to go.
Yep. 45 minutes to go, and
enjoy the race.
Of 2 Toyotas that started, 2 Toyotas still running. They're running 1-2. And they have run about as clean a race as I think we've ever seen from the Toyota team.
apart from mistakes like that happening.
Yeah, again, not a major disaster. There's David Cheng, 4 DC Racing Jackie Chan cars in the field, and in fact 3 of them are still going. The 33 car that he drives is Nicolas Bull and Pierre Nicolet, that's still going, and so are 38 and 39, their regular World Endurance Championship cars.
Unfortunately, not going to be able to repeat the fine podium positions that they had last year in the overall category, but saying that, one of the drivers, Thomas Laurent, who turned out to be a little bit of a superstar here last year in one of the Jota-run Jackie Chan DC Racing LMP2 cars, is now going to finish in the podium for the 2nd time, because he is in Rebellion Racing car number 3. And so Thomas Laurent will think that turning up at Le Mans and tasting champagne is a sort of standard every year thing.
Hopington, 1 win, 1 podium. That was top step, obviously. And again, the 38 car, this is their season-long entry. So for them, as for, say, the 97 Aston Martin, right now, if you can't be on the podium, you've got to content yourself with the points you're going to earn.
The one battle that still is there, though, is for 2nd place in GTE Pro, with Dirk Muller still chasing down Richard Leitz. So Ford chasing down the GT, the Porsche car. There's the leader of GTE Pro.
The GT cars in the top 20 overall, which is not bad considering we started with a field of 60.
Yeah. There's Dr. Porsche himself saying another potential win.
Lees Beckett down in the pit lane at the AM Team Spirit of Race Ferrari, and you've got Thomas Floor, one of our regulars in the European Le Mans Series.
Yes, I do. Spirit of Race, Thomas Floor. You can't see this because it's an audio interview, but fingers crossed. Are your toes crossed too?
Yeah, everything is crossed. Let's wait 43 minutes.
Okay, you don't want to say too much just yet, do you?
Say anything. 43 minutes. That's what we have to go.
Wise man.
I'll leave you to it.
Wise man. 43 minutes and 1 second. That's still not enough. It might be 45 or 6 or 7 before he can breathe again. Thank you, Lou. Well done. Yeah. These are nervous times. Now, you know, you've been in this position when you're chasing. You've been in this position when you're leading. Is it harder? It must be harder not being in the car when you are within sight of the checkered flag.
Yes, it is, and this is the final pit stop. Sorry to jump across. That was the final pit stop for the 91 car of Richard Leitz coming in.
That's a lovely Father's Day. It's a lovely Father's Day car. That's really wonderful.
Cheer Elton Julian up. He's had a tough weekend of it. And here's the 3rd place car in GTE Pro as well. So 2nd and 3rd are in. They're on exactly the same strategy. The gap is 15 seconds.
Now, they were flip-flopping. They were a lap or 2 apart. The Porsche almost always had its nose in front, and then particularly when Dirk Muller was in the car earlier on, about 4 or 5 hours ago, for 2 laps he'd be up into 2nd and then back down to 3rd once he took his pit stop. But the pit stop strategies have aligned, and probably the late 2 safety cars, this morning's 2 safety cars have sort of done that a little bit.
They've took the fizz out of it, haven't they? Because this was properly on the boil, was this? And then
did the Porsche change tyres there?
It has very, very clean wheels on now, so I think it did.
That's entirely possible. Is there going to be a tyre change? You know, are you going track position here? No tyres for the Ford?
No, they changed.
Did they?
Yeah. You can change when you refuel now. And so they changed, definitely. It was just whether they went for new tyres or they had to use used at this point.
Yeah. Which will have done fewer laps for some reason, either in qualifying or free practice or something, than a particularly worn set, or maybe they're just using a set that is more suitable for the warmer track conditions now.
Last pit 4 seconds quicker for the Porsche. Sorry, for the Ford, down to 12.7 seconds.
All right, so 12 seconds, 40 minutes. That sounds to me like a battle. There's Sebastian Bourdais.
It's not Joey Hand, as his headset says.
No, but when Joey's looking for his headset, we know where it's gone.
Yeah.
I think when Macchio Vecchi's looking for his headset, I think that's when we should look for Sebastian Bourdais.
It'll be inserted somewhere, I think.
Yeah, did you see the tweet Bourdais put out? If he was racing on his own, he would. He probably wouldn't still be in the race, and neither would the other car.
Exactly. No, that was. Yeah, the message there was clear that he wouldn't have put up with that if he was only thinking about himself and the end of the race for himself. So number 5, Ginetta, has had another long stop, but he's back out on track. They've attacked it with a pokey stick and run, you know, get on. This is a 24-hour race. Get out of the pit lane again. And so that car is back out on track. And this is really vital for Ginetta. Fix the problems as they come up. Fix the problems again as they come up. Keep fixing the problems as they come up. Learn as much as you can about the car. This is its shakedown test. It's a pretty brutal shakedown test for team and driver, and especially for the car. But it is a shakedown test. So Charlie Robertson's gone back out again. And as you said a little bit earlier, Mike Wainwright's the last circulating car in the Gulf Porsche. He's 11th in the AM class. Ewan Hankey 10th in the AM class for TF Sport. And that looks like the last regulation stop for the 3rd place car in GTE Pro, the 68 Ford. 67 is a minute behind. And will the 67 car of Harry Tinknell need to stop again? They have done 2 stops more than their
Yes, they might have a splash and dash of about 5 laps, I would think, so they're out of sync on the stop.
They've had at least 1 penalty, haven't they? It's one of those extra stops.
They stopped on 3:25.
These are our top 3. The 39 Graf Racing car, Tristan Gombardi. The 36 Cineatec Alpine Matmut car of Nico Lapierre. And the leader in LMP2, as it has been for a very large percentage of the race, actually, the number 26 G-Drive Racing Orica, currently driven, again, as it has seemed to be for a fair amount, by Jean-Eric Verne, although you've got to say Roman Rusanov has done a huge amount of donkey work behind the wheel of that car as well. In the AM class, this is the car that lies 2nd in the category, Giancarlo Fisichella. He's ahead of Jeroen Bleekemolen in the Keating Motorsport Ferrari, the red and white car. So the Spirit of Race Ferrari, number 54, in 2nd place. But it's Dempsey Proton Porsche that leads. Junior driver Matt Campbell, the young Australian, is at the wheel. You see that car's had a scrape or 2.
Certainly has.
It's unusual to finish with no marks on a car, Alan. Obviously yours always did, but it is unusual at a race like this. Sorry, there was a bus passing. What can I do? No matter how clean you try and drive, there's so many opportunities just for a little touch in traffic here and there, and you know, somebody moves over and there's a little bump. It doesn't always get spotted, but they usually leave their mark on both cars.
Yeah, your law of averages was 60 cars on a circuit, 24-hour race, nearly a Grand Prix season in a day. Then there is going to be something, and there is something. That's one of the Ligiers spinning at the final corner.
Yeah, that's the Laber competition car. Laber competition for so many years, entering Corvettes in the race at Le Mans, and this is, I think, Jacques Leconte's team first Le Mans outing with a prototype car. So Erwan Cred, one of the 3 French drivers of that car, looping it round, shares with Romano Ricci and Thomas Draganot. Very, very French outfit. Jacques Leconte and the Laber team running a French Ligier chassis with French Michelin tyres and 3 French drivers. There, Pat Dempsey.
Duncan's mate.
Yeah, watching the action. And this is the leader in the GTE AM class.
With their final stop.
Yeah.
Run to the end now without any questions.
Right, Matt Campbell is out of 77, so is he out of time, or is Christian Reed going to get back in? Not sure who takes over. Not sure who's next in the rotation. But basically, Matt Campbell and Julian Andlauer are this year's Porsche Junior factory drivers, predominantly in Mobil 1 Carrera Super Cup and Carrera Cup Deutschland, but also loaned out to teams in the big endurance races. And my thinking is if that's their final stop, it's likely to be Christian Reed. A 10-second stop-and-go penalty for car number 1, further beating the life out of the LMP1 battle. They've exceeded the amount of allowed fuel, just as number 7 car did. So Neil Jarni in the number 1 Rebellion that's in 4th moves 10-second stop and go further from the penalty from the podium. hugs all round in the fairly fatigued-looking Dempsey Proton Racing garage. Haven't seen an awful lot of drama surrounding the 77 car, but that doesn't make the day any shorter, to be honest. And actually, if you're sitting down for a long time with not much to do and no emergency and dramas, then that doesn't help. Now, the number 7 Toyota gets a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for exceeding the maximum NB of number of laps per stint. And there were all these people on Twitter telling me there was no maximum number of laps per stint. It was only the amount of energy you could use, and it was I don't know. So clearly the rules are not quite as clear as we thought we had clarified them. So a further penalty for the number 7 car, and that will knock it even further out of reach of the number 8 that leads the race.
Information to the pit lane, information to the pit lane, steward's decision number 65, 10-second stop-and-go penalty on car number 7 for exceeding the maximum allowed laps per stint. 10-second stop-and-go penalty on car 7 for exceeding the maximum number of laps allowed per stint.
There you go, the words from the race director Eduardo Freitas, just to alert the entire pit lane to that. Let's get down to Louise Beckett in the pit lane. Louise, last half-hour dramas almost in LMP2.
Yeah, the number 39 Graf Racing has just come in with a front left puncture. Well, there's nothing left of the tyre, to be honest. How he got it back without us even noticing was very good.
Fermé pour 6 laps for stop and go penalty, 10 seconds. Okay, repeat. Box. Okay. Yeah, box.
Yeah, unfortunately, the last time they told him box this lap, he didn't press the OK button and for some reason also didn't come in. And so that's where this penalty eventually has come from. And the onboard there, Alan, in the cutout above the wheel on the leading edge, you can see masses of rubber pickup, not just on the tyre, but actually stuck to the inside of the wheel arch as well.
They build up in there and then they'll fly off when it's enough of a weight. That it just basically, it's a very hot rubber. It's about 85 degrees Celsius, up to 100 degrees Celsius. And it glues itself to it. You see it there on the right-hand edge. And that'll come off. They'll maybe clean it, actually. Normally they would clean it at stops. They won't in a stop-go penalty, though, because they can't touch a car.
Well, indebted to Glenn Tyrrell, who reminds us that Labra entered an Orica chassis in LMP2 back in 2014, so it's not their first prototype outing. Their second. So in comes the number 7 car. Now, there's no penalty box here. You serve the penalties in your own pit box, and it's up to the team to make sure that you do it legally, and then it's up to the marshals in the pit lane to make sure that the team makes sure that you do it legally. So away he goes. In comes the number 1 Rebellion. This is the car that is in 4th place, Neil Jarni.
But this should be stop and go, shouldn't it?
Yeah, yes. This is to serve its penalty as well, and that further distances it from the number 3 sister car.
I didn't check just 100%, but the Graf car that just came in with a puncture, I believe that has now dropped from 3rd to 4th in P2 because it's now 30 seconds behind.
TDS were in 4th place with Loic Duval.
So position change there.
And of course TDS were in 3rd, but they had a technical issue that dropped them back to about 6th position. Then United had a little problem with the 32 car. Now Graf have had that puncture. So kind of honours even, one minor drama each. The real losers in this have been IDEC Sport, because they were the pole sitters in the class and they dropped way down the order.
They're on the retirement list now.
Yeah, they are now, aren't they? They are hors de combat. We now have 45 running cars out of 60, so we've lost 15. So at midnight, or 12 hours in, we'd only lost about 4 or 5 cars. Now we're actually up to a quarter of the field not running.
There's been quite a bit of retirement issues in the last part of it, more than expected, to be honest with you. Less than expected at the beginning and more at the end.
Well, you look at the LMP2 field, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 8 cars in LMP1 rather have retired. So all the new LMP1 cars, with the exception of the 2 Rebellions, have retired. So the attrition, and the number 5 Ginetti, you're right, so the attrition rate there was pretty high. We've lost 2 of our AM class GTs, 3 of our Pro class GTs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, half a dozen of our LMP2 cars.
And that battle there, you see the Dempsey Proton car, Reed at the wheel.
Yep.
Just to run out the last 30 minutes. There's the leader of LMP2, in fact, leader from lap 1 basically. G-Drive TDS car has just dominated it from start to finish.
Yep. Really solid driver lineup. Roman Rusinov, Andrea Pizzitola, the more recent addition, and Jean-Eric Verne. Verne has had some pretty good races in the World Endurance Championship, and he is on target now to stand on the podium at Le Mans. He's also leading the Formula E Championship as they head into the final race weekend in New York in a couple of weeks. So kind of a little bit like Sebastian Buemi was last year, having a really good run in 2 different championships.
Yeah. It's a glory time in that respect, and he won the ELMS race at Monza as well.
Yep.
So in that point of view, I don't think Jean-Eric Verne can have a better time of it so far.
Having a purple patch, isn't he?
Yeah.
But like you've got to remind yourself, in the down days, they don't last forever. You've also got to remember in the up days, you've got to cherish them and gain every single point you can.
Better believe it.
Kaz Nakajima, Jev, Michael Christensen and Christian Reed lead our 4 classes into the final half hour here at Le Mans, and this should be the final stop for the number 8 Toyota. Number 7 Toyota has gone back out after its drive-through penalty. Now, it had a slightly drive stop and go penalty. It had a slightly out of sync stop. Will it need a splash a dash, as they say here in France? Or rather, they don't. I wonder what the French for splash and dash is. It's probably splash and dash. Probably doesn't translate even remotely into French. Just with a torch there, checking to make sure there's no sign of obvious cracks or fatigue in the brake discs.
It's just checking everything.
Yeah.
Not that they're expecting anything.
So that would say to me Nakajima's going to bring this home with 27 minutes to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at all the people already crowding around Toyota.
Well, listen, you know, for Toyota's management, if they're going to win a race, then I'm sure they would love to have a Japanese driver in the car. As a result, they've got a Japanese driver in both cars. So that's, you know, that's loaded, and that's the spare chamber loaded as well.
Yeah, but that's also, I think, very correct, because both of those guys have been extremely strong.
And have been around for a while with the team. They've been through it all.
10-second stop and go for car number 1 for exceeding the maximum number of laps per stint. It's a little bit careless going into the final hour of the race.
Yeah, but this is from before.
Yeah,
I'm pleased that we didn't have a fight on our hand and this was ruining it. You know what I mean? That would have really disappointed us all. But they've just had one for something else, didn't they? Fuel flow, yeah.
The amount of fuel used, both of them. And then they also have the number of laps on the stint. And
okay, we're going to go down to Louise in the pits.
Matt Campbell, what do we say? Not long left of this race. How are your nerves?
Yeah, I mean, only 30 minutes left now. Obviously, Christian's in for the final stint. Car's been running brilliantly. It still feels really, really good. So, you know, Christian will bring it home, and yeah, fingers crossed. Obviously, still 30 minutes to go, but yeah, obviously nerves are starting to get a lot more now.
The 77's been dominant throughout this race, but how's your Le Mans been?
Yeah, look, obviously it's been my debut, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it's been well above expectations, and just enjoying every lap. I mean, it's so special, you know, doing laps at night, you know, managing lap traffic and everything like that. It can be quite tricky, but it's all part of this race, and it's a huge challenge, and I'm, you know, very happy to be here.
Well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
just looking at it there, the Graf Racing car has gone back through into third place as Loic Duval pitted. But the one thing I did notice when it did go through it back into third place, then the left-hand number panel was flapping around as if it's had some sort of impact at some point. Now, I really hope for their sake that that doesn't pop off. Because if it does,
Pit
you have
stop
to have it
to
rectified.
fit a new one, exactly right. Yeah, TDS Racing's Loic Duval, also United Autosport's Hugo de Sadelaire, Jasmine Jafar, Dragon Speed's Roberto Gonzalez, and Ho Pin Tung for Jackie Chan DC Racing. There was a flurry of pit stops on that last lap. Final fill for the LMP2 field, or some of them at least. Dempsey Proton have made their final run. We heard from Porsche Junior driver Matt Campbell.
On screen here we are following and trailing our number 92 car. That's the leader in GTE Pro, Christensen on board.
Yep.
Lovely noise.
Lovely noise and a great view of just how hard working these cars are. One green light on the side, that's the GTE Pro class. Harrison Newey's last pit stop in the number 35 SMP Racing LMP2 car, i.e. their only car left still running, is being investigated by the stewards. So that might result in a penalty for him. However, he is 6 laps behind the Panis Barthez car of Will Stevens and a couple of laps ahead of the nearest LMP2 car behind, which is a 47 Villorba course car, driven by Felipe Nasser. GTE Pro leader on pit road for the very final time. His car in 17th place, so the podium in GTE Pro, all safely in the top 20 overall. And that really was a very short fill. Needed just enough to get it through the final 23 minutes. Now, probably still have taken you 4 or 5 minutes at a normal petrol station because of the width of the fuel pipe and the nozzle. Fill these cars very quickly, or part fill them at any rate.
Alan, Louise was just down in the pits there talking to Matt Campbell, I think it was, from the 77 car. 23 minutes to go, stood in the pit lane. I mean, what did you do if you weren't in the car in those final few minutes when...
Watch the onboard cameras.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Because we had onboard cameras live all the time on all of our cars, and you just sit there and watch your car's onboard camera.
You don't go and hide somewhere and just wait for the cheer.
Well, no, because that didn't change anything. At least if you watched the onboards, you could, and something did happen, you could react. And so from that perspective, watch the onboards. In close battles, tried to anticipate what the driver in the car would need, what he would want, some information. But yeah, that was basically what we used to do all the time, in fact, just watch the onboards.
Louise Beckett's down at our second placed LMP2 team, and that is Cinetic Alpine, and she's with Andre Negrão.
A very sleepy Andre Negrão. You've really worked up your sleep tonight, haven't you?
Definitely not. During the night, I sleep for 20 minutes per stint during the end, and quite down in the end. I'm quite dead almost, but we still. It's a strange race. We don't have the pace to follow the guys on the drive. Definitely not. But we still be chill to the end. Now 21 minutes to go. We hope to cross the line in P2.
It shows how LMP2 was, because it was changing a lot. After G-Drive, the positions were changing a lot between you.
Yeah. During the race, we changed a lot between P1, P2, P3, and P4. Then we remised P2 almost in the night. Then we go into P3 and P4 again. So in the end, it's nice because it's a battle in the night and also in the day. Then for some reason, the guys from Gulf and TDS, they have a problem in the brakes. So, and we don't have these problems, yeah. So we get this present from them. We don't have any problems in the brakes. So now we have P2 with a good advantages between P2 and P3. So yeah, we got it.
I'll let you go and rest before you celebrate.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, hopefully he won't be too exhausted to enjoy a bit of a party, although actually a lot of the drivers and teams feel very deflated after the race. Actually, a lot of the engineers have a lot of work to do packing up before everything mysteriously vanishes. Here is our third place car, the number 3 Rebellion. Gustavo Menezes at the wheel, 23-year-old Angelino from the USA and comes down to the slow zone, which is in the Porsche curves.
We've not seen why we've got this slow zone, have we? I mean,
no, we haven't yet.
Debris.
Yeah. It's only for another 15 seconds, and then they will go back to green. Everybody now, with 20 minutes to go, forgetting 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And starting to get ready for celebratory selfie pictures.
I was going to say something, and I've totally forgot what I was going to say.
It is that time of day.
Yeah.
It is that point in the race where...
Oh.
Go ahead.
I've forgotten again.
Oh, good, excellent.
It will come to me. It will hang about.
Senior moment.
That was it. Yeah, I remember now. Remember, scrutineering is not till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So even though they celebrate on the podium, those engineers and the team principals are never relaxed, are they, until tomorrow afternoon when they get the message through that they've done it.
Eurasia Motorsport confirming a sudden and unheralded gearbox failure ended their race. So have we got the marker of doom over the 44 car? We have not. So that is another one that bites the dust. So Andrea Bertolini, Nick Jonsson and Tracy Krohn. The Krohn Racing colours on the Eurasia Motorsport car, and that, I'm afraid, also will fail to finish. Number 5, Ginetta, is continuing to circulate. So Charlie Robertson doing his level best to get the car from Leeds all the way to the checkered flag. He's got 18 minutes and a bit to persuade it to continue.
And a stop-go penalty for car number 35, which is Harrison Newey for the last pit stop for having received external assistance. Basically, it's got to start and drive away under its own steam, which apparently it did not.
So, mechanics pulling a car backwards is okay. Mechanics pushing a car forwards is a different thing. So Roman Rusinov there in the centre of the G-Drive garage. They're being a little bit more cautious and possibly understandably so, I think, in the Dempsey Proton Racing garage.
What do you reckon? We just got a very quick glimpse into the Toyota garage. They will just hate every shot that we see of them inside that garage, won't they?
Do you know what? I kind of do as well, because you know, at least they've got 2 cars now. If one car has a final 5 minutes, then they've got another car.
Yeah, I think they can be reasonably comfortable, much more than probably any other time in their history.
Yeah. I think there's probably only once they've headed into the final 15 minutes leading Le Mans. That was 2 years ago. And they headed into the final 5 minutes and didn't come out the other end. Well, a few tears already at G-Drive. Roman Rusinov, Andrea Pizzitola and Jean-Eric Verne have been the dominant force in the category. You can see Pizzitola looking pretty emotional. I know that Roman Rusinov will be as well. And the Toyota guys, this is going to be a very, very long quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, because there's not one of them that won't be, Alan, permanently scarred by the events of 2 years ago.
I don't underestimate the impression that Le Mans has made on Toyota-san himself.
Yeah.
And the investment that he made in it, and the emotional investment in it, where he said, we will be back and we will conquer. Yeah. And that was after the 2016 last lap problem. And so, you know, from that perspective, and I know personally from when I raced for them in '99 here, and we were close but so far from victory, that it is the trophy they want. It has always been the trophy they want, as much as any other thing that they've ever done in motorsport. This is the one in Japan that is so key to them.
Yeah.
And it'll be a huge tick in the Toyota box after such a long period of time of trying.
Look,
also for Sebastian Buemi as well.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but for Seb as well, because, you know, I saw him after that 16, and it was heart-wrenching for me. And I can't imagine what it would have been like for him.
Well, look, we're all so tired at the end of the race, whether you've been watching or participating in it, that the emotion is so greatly exaggerated, but just waiting for it all to happen. You know, they're waiting either for the flag to fall or for the sword to fall. Nico Lapierre comes in from second place, the gap 3 minutes over Tristan Gomendi. And Harrison Newey has been and gone, I think, serving his penalty for SMP Racing. Out goes Lapierre.
Got a little battle going on for third and fourth still, haven't we, in LMP2. Graf versus TDS, 7.2 seconds between them.
Yeah, 7 seconds in it is nothing in the final 15 minutes, is it? And the TDS car, Loic Duval, 1 second slower than Tristan Gomendi last time round. Patrick Dempsey trying to remain. It's just another lap. It's just another lap after that. Just another lap after that. And everybody's going, yep, no, I'm fine. I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm.
No, you're not calm at this point. I can tell you, you're not calm.
And the monkey inside is screaming and leaping up and down. And whether you are twitching from foot to foot or tears are streaming down your face or whatever the emotion, however the emotion lets itself out, it is in there, bottled up and waiting to explode in one way or another. And this might be the historic moment for Toyota at Le Mans.
Just remember that quite a few of the people were there in 1999, 98, 99 period. Also, many of them, in fact, my #1 mechanic in Formula 1, he's on one of the cars. And John Litchens, who's the technical director, was there through all of the Formula 1 period as well. Rob Luypen. And so they are emotionally invested in the company just as much as anybody else. It's not just a job, it's their life. And this will be, to be honest, it'll be what they deserve.
Yes, you know, it's hard to begrudge anybody who keeps coming back and keeps coming back. And the number of times that Toyota's been slapped in the face when they've brought a really strong program. Maybe this time, finally, Sebastian Bourdais put it the other day, Le Mans will choose you. You, Kazuki Nakajima, you, Sebastian Buemi, you, Fernando Alonso.
I remember 2 years ago it was Nakajima who was on board when that stopped on the final, starting the final lap. So, yeah, he will not relax, will he, at all, because he's been there, done it, and got the T-shirt for the wrong reasons.
And of course, Alan, the other thing there, the other sort of parallel is that that was the last time a current Grand Prix driver raced at Le Mans on a weekend off, and it was his debut, and he won, Nico Hülkenberg.
Yep.
So, you know, there's all sorts of little clinging to sort of hopeful parallels that goes on at this stage, where you can't wait for it all to be over one way or the other, but you can't predict how it's going to end.
The two Toyotas together going to switch positions there, and 7 will drop in behind 8 for the picture at the end.
Look at how tight those fingers are being clasped.
Because this car hasn't made the finish yet.
Yeah.
It's got another 4 laps, 3.5 laps.
Yeah. G-Drive out front by 2 laps, but it doesn't matter. You can be out front by 30 laps if you don't complete the final lap to take the checkered flag within a minimum period. You could be leading by a day and a half, and you're still not going to be classified as a finisher, and you won't win. So above all else, whatever happens now, they must get to the checkered flag. So Fernando Alonso signing up with Toyota for the World Endurance Championship, signing up for not 1 but 2 Le Mans races in that deal. He could end up with the potential to win both of them. Certainly if Toyota bring a program anywhere as competent as this next year, then there's a very good chance. There's a man who knows more than most in this place about winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Your former boss, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich.
Yeah.
Bit of a busman's holiday for him, but yeah, it's hard to stay away from this place, isn't it?
No, he enjoys it.
Yeah.
He enjoys it, and he's picked up 13 trophies on top of that podium.
And as gracious in defeat as in victory, the Audi hospitality area was always welcoming to their beaten rivals to join the party when they won. Well, Louise, all the Toyota guys in the garage, arm in arm, hugging each other, and that's a bit of a familiar sight for this race weekend.
Yeah, when I was on the grid, that's exactly how they started. Everyone else, all the other teams, just hands by their side, but the Toyota boys, both teams, standing just like that.
Win, lose or draw, we win as a team, we lose as a team, and this time,
under 10 minutes to go.
Well, in the Porsche garage, the GTE Pro leader is the better part of a minute ahead. This is Michael Christensen, teammate Fred Makovici, the second of the historic liveried Porsches. A nice little gesture in Porsche's 70th anniversary year, because, of course, Le Mans has been a part of the Porsche racing history pretty much from the day they made their first ever car. Racing in all sorts of different categories over the years, and a massive period of dominance throughout the Group C era in the 1980s, and then returning to the fray and claiming victories with the 919 hybrid in their most recent period of...
You saw Nakajima just look at his mirror then, didn't you? And he, seeing what's coming up behind me, oh, that's my teammate.
In fact, he's come up behind Kobayashi, and so they are now forming up. Kobayashi now 2 laps behind. Louise Beckett is down, waiting at the Toyota garage, and I think we'll just leave your mic open if we can, Lou, if you can switch it on and off as soon as you got somebody just jump in the middle of a sentence, because what we have to say will be irrelevant compared to what they have to say. It is, however, as you might understand, after 20 years of waiting, somewhat of a bun fight.
And I've got a feeling there'll be a few words and lines along the lines of, I don't really know what to say, and I've got no words for this because we've waited so long for it.
I think that's exactly right. You know, there'll be lots of, well, it hasn't really sunk in yet. Well, no, it won't have, and it probably won't have in 2 or 3 weeks, and it might not have in a month's time.
3.642 seconds. Loic Duval, Tristan Gomedy. This is for the 3rd place in the LMP2 category. This is for the final podium position.
Yeah.
Now, Loic Duval, I know very well. He was my teammate. We won this race in 2013 together, so I can tell you he wants to be back on that podium.
No kidding. To do it with a different team in a different set of overalls. You can see that his car, as the windscreen wiper sort of tried to part company, there is his target in front, just gone out of shot. That's the 39 Graf car. He's trying to get by the 38 car of Ho Pin Tung. And you would hope, actually, that the Jackie Chan DC racing car would say to Ho, it's a battle for position, just pull over and let him go. We've only got 2 laps for that podium finish to be sorted out. Harrison Newey comes in to serve his penalty and comes to a halt.
10 seconds, stop and go.
And off he goes with under 7 minutes remaining. Now, of course, the clock counts down to 0, and the checkered flag then waits for the leading car to arrive. And whoever is first there, with the most laps in the book, is the winner. Al, the all-time race distance is 397 laps?
Yep.
I think we're going to get to 380.
No, we're not going to get anywhere near the distance laps.
No, those 2 safety cars today, particularly the one for that loose drain cover, that put the kibosh on those.
Ah, yeah, that did take, because we were working it out in the middle of the night, weren't we, of what it was going to be and things
Paul
like
Trussell
that.
said, you know, by halfway through we were definitely well on target, but it did need to remain relatively green. And unfortunately, that long 3rd safety car is what really put a bit of the kibosh on it. So G-Drive are LMP2 leaders. Sean O'Van is in the car, and his teammates Andrea Pizzitola and Roman Rusanov with the rest of the team are in the garage. Toyota formed up 1-2. Number 8 now ahead of number 7 for purposes photographic.
3.2 seconds. Actually, it's between Loic Duval and Tristan Gomedy now.
Yeah. Loic Loic was 1/100th of a second, in fact 11 thousandths of a second quicker in the first sector, and he was not even a tenth. So
yeah, but the last lap he was 3 seconds quicker.
Yeah. Now, is he still stuck behind the 38 car, the Jota Sport entry for Jackie Chan DC Racing, Ho Pin Tung? No, I think he's not, because Ho's second sector was an 81, second sector, and Loic's was a 79, so he's got by 38.
There's 38 there.
Yep, and right behind is the jumbo car of Frits van Aert, and Ho Pin Tung has gone by Frits van Aert, and that is a change for position. It is 8th place in LMP2 in the final 5 minutes. Frits van Aert honestly would have preferred not to have been passed, but won't care if he gets to the checkered flag. That will be 100% target acquired for the Jumbo Racing Team Netherlands Dallara. But Ho Pin Tung, and that's why he didn't back off and let Loic Duval pass, because it was, no, actually, excuse me, I've got a race on my hands for position as well. May not be for a podium, but it's a race for position. However, Loic Duval got by. It's now 3.5 seconds for the podium in LMP2. TDS Racing chasing Graf. Loic Duval versus Tristan Gomedy. Frits van Aert now down in 13th place in the LMP2 class. Michael Christensen, Fred Makovic 1-2 for Porsche. Dirk Muller, Harry Tincknell 3-4 for Ford. Corvette's Antonio Garcia in 5th position. Into the pit lane has come the Corvette, and it is a lap ahead of the 52A, of course, a Ferrari, so it won't lose 5th place. At least it won't by coming into the pits and getting fuel. It would have done by staying out for a further lap. Unbelievable, making a splash and dash with a little over 3 minutes of the 24-hour race left. That is a safety car that came in a lap too early for them to make it all the way through, perhaps.
Tristan Gomedy just done the quickest middle sector of the race so far for his car.
Yep.
So definitely the hurry on with just, well, there'll be one more lap to go.
Yep, 3.7 seconds now, the gap up from 3.5 over Loic Duval. Here are the two Toyotas, not nose to tail in the race. They are separated by 2 laps. The number 8 car ahead of number 7.
Final lap.
Yes. So the clock will tick down before they get to the start-finish line to 3 o'clock Central European time. We started at 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon, and we will finish at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon. And the Toyota team, I think now, are starting to believe.
Last lap, Kazuki. Last lap.
Yes, Louise Beckett is down there in the heart of the emotion central. That will be the explosion of relief. 20 fruitless attempts. And those who aren't already openly weeping are holding it together remarkably well. If it was a 6-hour race that they tried to win for 20 years, that would be emotional enough. The fatigue of a 24-hour race that you've tried to win 20 previous times, it's just unimaginable that you keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back. Not 5, not 10, 20 times.
And to have the cruel look that they have had. It's not like it's just that they've not been committed and they've not been fast. They've been in this position so many times, and so many times things have gone wrong.
They've had cars that have qualified on pole and led strongly that have then failed to make it through. And this time, Mulsanne corner on the final lap at racing speed. The Toyota is a couple of miles away from history. Well, all Le Mans winners, and Al, you might corroborate this, hear strange noises and feel strange vibrations. I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't. You're too insensitive mechanically.
I've got to say that it wasn't at this moment in time you'd calculated and you knew.
Yeah. And
you just knew that you had to get it to the end. You were just focusing on getting it to the end.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind as a driver right now?
Well, braking for the Arnage corner, accelerating out. What's that car going to do? Make sure you get to the right-hand side, use the boost to get past him. And, you know, it's just exactly as he's doing.
Yeah.
You're executing the last part of the race.
5 seconds left on the clock. And when the Toyotas get to the line, the emotion will be raw and unrestrained.
24 hours is over now. They've just got to make it now.
Look at Nando, he's got his head down. He barely even dares smile because he's seen those pictures from 2 years ago. But now they're in the Porsche curves. There are cars in front. It doesn't matter. They can see the ACO building. They are
slowing down, so they don't have to do another lap.
Yes, everybody's slowing down, but now the Golf car pulls out of the way, and the Toyotas will thread their way through. It is a historic victory. It's a follow my leader, and Toyota win at Le Mans, a 1-2 after 2 decades and more of heartbreak. Finally.
Congratulations, Toyota, because you've tried so hard. Now you've won.
Their radio channel is live and open, and nobody is able to say anything. G-Drive win LMP2. Now Antonio Pizzatola and Roman Rusinov can explode. There is the second place Porsche, and the 92 car of Michael Christensen, the historic 917 Langheck, the Pink Pig livery, will win at Le Mans in 2018, celebrating Porsche's 70th anniversary.
Fernando's trying to find his team to celebrate with them, obviously.
Well, Louise Beckett is down there in the heart of it. G-Drive going mental. There's Roman Rusinov on the left-hand side. He's won lots of races. You can't get bored of winning, but you can't get bored of winning Le Mans. And 77, Dempsey Proton. Christian Ried, who has raced at least 20 years in Porsches with Proton Racing, brings the car to the flag. Dempsey Proton win in GTE AM. Christian Ried joined by Porsche Junior driver rookies Matt Campbell and Julian Andlauer. And there, Patrick Dempsey finally allows his emotions to erupt. He's been keeping them bottled up for the last couple of hours. Probably the last 6, to be honest. And as a team owner, he wins the greatest endurance motor race on the planet. And Toyota Allen have finally done it. Finally.
It's been a very long wait with lots of tears, lots of hard work and despair. Yeah. But Alex, now you can see the tears of joy.
What do we say? Finally, after all these attempts, it's come through and you've won Le Mans.
Yeah, and 1-2, beautiful finish. Yeah, just stunning. Thank you for the team. Thanks for being part of it.
Kazuki Nakajima.
You are the man of the race. Thanks for hard work. Thank you.
Kazuki brings the car across the line. He is the 3rd Japanese driver to win at Le Mans. The first in 1995, Masanori Sakiya, who has been his mentor throughout his career, along, of course, with his father. And Seiji Ara back in 2004 won for the Team Go Audi crew. And Kazuki Nakajima becomes only the 3rd Japanese driver in 86 races to win here at Le Mans. Fernando Alonso becomes only the 2nd ever Spaniard to win at Le Mans. The other was Marc Genet back in 2009 when the wrong Peugeot won. Also there, David Brabham, who we had in the booth on Saturday, and Alexander Wurz, who's here celebrating with Toyota. And the GTE Pro class win goes to the number 92 Porsche. Michael Christensen, Kevin Estre, and Lawrence Van Toor. The Pink Pig triumphs.
70th anniversary of Porsche, and they've done it again.
Winning both GT classes. And the battle in the end, TDS Racing coming up 2.5 seconds shy of the podium in LMP2. Cinetic Alpine's Nicolas Lapierre finished in second, and Tristan Gomedy finished in third place. Don't worry, Lou. So there is Fernando Alonso. And again, talked about this earlier. Last time a current Grand Prix driver raced here on a weekend, it was Nico Hülkenberg, and he too won at his first and so far only attempt. Fernando will be back a year from now to give it another shot. And so too, hopefully, will Mike Conway, Kamui Kobayashi, and the rest of the team. Jose Maria Lopez in the second placed car.
They've dreamed of that shot for many, many years.
Yeah. Louise Beckett in the pits.
John, you're celebrating with the team. I just don't even know how to put that into words for you. It's taken such a long time to get to this. Take that checkered flag.
Yeah, obviously we've been here many times with Toyota. For me, it was the 10th time being here. Once with a privateer, the rest all with Toyota. We were so many times so close, and definitely had many times a good car to win, but always had a lot of bad luck, and this is fantastic. Yeah, it's really fantastic.
Oh, and he's just celebrating with Rob. So once Rob Leupen has celebrated, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Louisa.
Come on, you've got to give me more than that.
I don't have so much anymore. Let's look at it, what's happened the next days. The team has to celebrate tonight. We're going to do this. And then, yeah, great experience. Very nice. See you next year.
Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Adam and Lawrence and Kevin. This was just all I've dreamed of. Thanks for making my dream come true. Also to Porsche and Manta. Thank you, everyone that has been involved. This is just something that I have dreamed of for a long, long time. Me too, mate. Me too. Pick up. Pick up. Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it enough.
Well, he definitely was picking up a pickup. He was driving over every little lump of rubber down the side of the road that he could to make sure that the car weighs as much as it can.
I think there was another reason for that. Right at the exit of Teteroos, a Danish driver going really wide. Yeah, I think that was more than pickup.
That's a very good little tribute as well. Yeah, good point to Alan Simonson. Well, Fernando Alonso, one Le Mans start, one Le Mans win. It's always nice to quit with a 100% record. But he's undertaken the entire super season, the FIA World Endurance Championship. So he will continue to race through the season. And our next port of call,
what a shot,
fans, will be at Silverstone. So he gets 2 races at Silverstone this year, one of which he's got a very strong chance in. Well, you know, he and Jenson Button have basically had opposite ends of the stick, haven't they? Jenson got the not quite so clean end, if you like, a really tough start and a heartbreaking finish where they couldn't even manage to drag the car to the end. But Fernando has the look of a man who, not only is he feeling no pain right now, obviously, but who is pretty convinced that this Le Mans business might be fun in the long term.
I think he's been convinced of that for quite a long time. It just took a little bit for him to actually get the opportunity to be able to do it. We had quite a lot of calls and discussions about it a few years ago, and it didn't quite work out, but it's good to see that he has got that love and passion for it, and as he said through the night, super.
Guys, we are so proud of you. So proud of you. It's a fantastic job. I am so proud of you guys, everyone. Anyway, great job from the team. 1, 2, great job. The car was good and flew.
Well, you know what? The honest truth is that Toyota so often have brought a really fantastic car here, and And sometimes they've just not had the luck. Sometimes they've made mistakes. And, you know, you have to iron out all of those. But even when you do, you still have to have fortune on your side. And this time, Le Mans chose them. And it's a bit glib to say so, and I know, Alan, you are very much not a believer in luck, and you make your own. Well, you certainly make your own bad luck. Of that there is no question.
Fernando and Sebastian, they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you on the start-finish line, so you have to come here and pick them up.
All right, okay. So they're not waiting for you in Parc Fermé. They want to go up the hill, into the pit lane, and back down to Parc Fermé.
You actually go to park underneath the podium.
Exactly.
And so you drive up the start-finish line, and then you loop around and go the wrong way down the pit lane to the podium.
Well, quite often the other drivers will be waiting in the pit lane amongst the throng. But Sebastian Buemi and Fernando Alonso are going to beat him senseless while he's out on the pit straight. They can't wait another moment before getting on the side pods and driving in. And of course, even if he stalls the engine, hopefully he'll have enough hybrid power. And if he hasn't, he's got two helpful pushers right with him.
They've been handed a checkered flag as well.
Well, what they don't have there, they've got a Toyota flag, they've got a checkered flag. They don't have a Japanese flag, which is a little bit of an undersight, perhaps, by somebody somewhere.
That's pretty cool, though, isn't it?
I wonder, we talked to Andreas Seidel, didn't we, a couple of years ago, where all the Porsche Win Le Mans T-shirts had been sent back to the van and packed back in boxes, and they had to hurriedly go and get them again. I wonder where superstition has left Toyota's T-shirts, because even after 20 years, I wonder if they dared print them this time.
Doesn't matter. They've won Le Mans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, there will
Fernando looks genuinely chuffed, doesn't he? He looks so super happy.
Again, not being facetious in any way.
They've had to push him back.
When was the last time Fernando Alonso won a motor race? It's been a long drought. It would have been at McLaren. The last time.
Whoops.
Yeah,
no,
don't.
Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari, yes, you're absolutely right, of course.
Yeah, they won the World Championship.
Don't drop him. Don't drop either of them, in fact.
Fernando's getting back in now. He's a bit scared.
Yeah. Well, drivers, as we know, make lousy passengers. Actually, right now, Seb's feeling no pain at all. Of course, he's quite used to electric power as well these days. Last win, 2013 Spanish Grand Prix. That's a long drought, and that would have been before, that would have been...
That's 5 years ago.
May. Yeah, 5 years and counting. It's a long time. Good Wikipediaing by Toby Moody in the background. Thank you for that fact. It has been a while. Sebastian Buemi, not so much. It's only just a year gone by since he won his last race in Formula E. And when did they win the last race?
Spa.
WEC. Yeah,
They won in Spa.
There you go. So only 6 weeks. Tiny Japanese flag. Now, he hasn't got a Spanish flag, Fernando. There are lots of them.
He did have one when he got on the car, but I don't know where that's gone. Maybe inside.
Crikey, have you seen him smile that much in years?
You know, at this moment in time, it's mainly about relief. Because up until now, there was always, you know, potential for something to go wrong. Then the first thing is relief. And then when you get to the podium, it's just amazement. And then from the podium after that, it takes a little bit of time to sink in exactly what's done.
I tell you what, he was honking on down the down the pit lane there a little bit, wasn't he? Well, we should get all 4 of our class winners coming in to go up the stairs and into the famous waiting room for the Le Mans podium. I was in there as a pit reporter, Alan, when you won your first race back in 1998. And it is a room of mixed emotion, because the winners are in there, hardly able to believe that it's actually happened. The second and third place teams, similar emotion, but with far less elation, I think.
Yeah, it depends what your expectation was when you came here. If your expectation was to win, then anything but a victory is a disappointment. If your expectation is for a fifth, then a podium's absolutely fantastic. But I think anybody from the LMP1 category, they come here only to win.
Yeah.
Don't come here for anything else. And so therefore, certainly I know that I've got some second and third place trophies, and they mean a lot, but not quite as much as the victories.
Exactly so. What about that first win, though, with the Porsche? You know, you'd struggled with Mercedes throughout the first part of the FIA GT Championship. They'd had the upper hand. Porsche hadn't won a race. In fact, Porsche didn't win.
They never won a race all year. That was the only race we won.
Exactly.
We led other races and things happened, but it didn't really matter because at the end of the year, this was the one that counted.
Yeah.
And, you know, for Laurent Ailo, Stefan Artelli and myself, it was a career-changing moment without question, but it was also a moment of unbelievable memories. Standing on the podiums, taking little pictures for ourselves, looking at things, not believing what we had done. And funnily enough, I drive that car in 2 weeks' time with Stefan and Laurent.
And these guys are doing exactly the same, aren't they? First time, and they're trying to work out how best to remember this, how best to soak this in so that it doesn't go in a blur.
No, you don't know what's happening until you stand on the podium.
And then you're looking down at this sea of humanity, the noise and the emotion and the champagne. And the enormous and unmistakable trophy. Kazuki Nakajima is taking more than his good time to get out of the car. I think he's just struggling a little bit.
Right, to run the engine a little bit. Now the celebration starts. That's the first time you've actually all been together in just over 24 hours.
Yeah.
You've always been in or out of the car, away and around and about. Now you can actually talk to each other and celebrate it as one unit, one team. And that bond with three drivers will never be broken ever in life.
Well, you're celebrating during the evening with a couple of your winning team, or one of your winning teammates, and the rest of the team from your last victory 10 years ago. I wonder if these guys will still be coming back in 10 years' time. Toyota seemed to just be going, okay, we're going to do this forever. They've been doing it, trying to do it for so long. You know, they finally got a date with the cutest girl in the high school. I'm pretty sure they don't want to stop at one date, you know? Marriage, kids. Well, up on the podium there, the members of the ACO. Joan Neveu, the head of the World Endurance Championship, Pierre Fillon, the president of the ACO. Everybody waiting for the drivers to come up.
Yeah, hold that one aloft.
Yeah.
Under the rising sun.
And the question now for statisticians is, has anybody tried for longer to win at Le Mans?
It doesn't matter now.
No, it doesn't. But the success of doing it, you know, there will be engineers and drivers and team mechanics and team bosses who have come and tried and come up short, who are watching this with as much emotion as anybody who's here, as anybody who's currently in the team. And as you said, an awful lot of the team have been through an awful lot of heartbreak here at Le Mans. There is a massive amount invested, not financially, but emotionally in this over many, many years. I think those grins are going to take a while to wear off, aren't they? The three drivers with their faithful steed. Sebastian Buemi, Fernando Alonso, Kaz Nakajima, your Le Mans winners, the 86th race. 24 hours of Le Mans. So 2022 will be the centenary race. the 100th race rather than centenary of the first race. 4 years from now, somebody is going to win a fairly momentous occasion. But right now, for Toyota, nothing other than this moment will count. There's Jean-Eric Verne, the driver of the number 26 G-Drive car. Man who's had plenty of close racing calls with Sebastian Buemi. Classification for the 24 Hours of Le Mans 2018. Toyota 1-2 and Rebellion at number 3, completing the podium ahead of their sister car. G-Drive with the number 26 car, the dominant force for most of the race in LMP2, ahead of regular rival Cineotech Alpine. Graf hanging on to third spot by 2.5 seconds. There was not often much doubt, barring intervention of the fickle finger of fate, for the 92 car to win in GTE Pro ahead of their 91 sisters. And then the 68 Chip Ganassi Team USA car finishing in third spot in GTE Pro. GTE Am, a victory also for Porsche, the 77 Dempsey Proton racing car ahead of the Spirited Race Ferrari. And right behind them, the Keating Motorsports Ferrari finishing on the podium in third position. And in the end, 43 cars made it to the finish line, including among them right towards the end of the field. TF Sport, the 90 car didn't make it through, but the last two running cars, Gulf Racing, the Porsche, on the 50th anniversary of Gulf's first win at Le Mans, and the number 5 Ginetta, TSR Manor racing car. Charlie Robertson bringing it to line after the team battled seemingly almost every hour of the 24 to keep the car running, to learn as much as they could about their brand new baby.